Hi there. Okay, today we're going to be talking about the landlord and tenant lease agreement that is approved by the Florida Association of Attorneys. That is a document that was filled out and pretty much will appropriate a rental between a landlord and tenant. So to go through and fill the document, as always, we're going to use .loop, and we'll go through our test loop to find this. And where you'll find this document in download is by adding a document. You go to your templates, go to your Florida interactive forms. You can type in lease and scroll down, and you'll notice there are two different types of leases. One is for multifamily rental housing or condos, and the other is for single family or duplex. We're going to focus on the single family duplex today. So just simply click copy. Okay. And then we'll just click on our residential lease for single family home. Okay, and as always, we do not pre-fill our documents, so we can go through them and explain. Okay, on this document, it is 19 pages long. You'll notice that the first page is a non-lawyer disclosure. This is because most of the time, we as an agent will help fill out a homeowner or a tenant in order to get the lease filled out. So typically what you'll do is you'll fill in your name here and all the boxes that say your name. So I'm going to put Kevin Pandrella in every box that's out here. And of course, if you're reading this to somebody in English or Spanish, you can check either one. And then you would simply sign here. And the landlord or tenant would sign one of these two boxes. And now we're on to our lease. Do note at the top of this, it says for a term not to exceed 1 year. So you may not write on one lease, you cannot write more than 1 year. However, if a tenant wants to legally bind two leases, they need to fill out two separate leases. So on this document, you're going to write the information as it asks. It says this lease is between name and address of owner of the property. You can say John Smith, 123 Main Street, Naples, Florida, 34102, and name of persons to whom the property is leased. So this might go to John Doe, Jane Doe, and children. And it says that is the tenant. Then below, it'll ask you for the landlord's email and telephone. Fill that in accordingly. 239-555-5555 is their telephone. Their email could be none@nowhere.com. We'll put in the tenant's email, nowhere@none.com. And the telephone number is 239-867-5309. Then it asks about what is the address of the property that's going to be rented. We're going to be renting 123 or 234 Main Street, Naples. It already says Florida, and the zip code is 34103. And then it says, together with the following furniture and appliances, and you list all furniture and appliances. If none, write none. And the lease, the property lease, including furniture and appliances, if any, is called the premises. So for this purpose, I'm going to put none. But if there was furniture, you could put see attached inventory list or specific items as they request. Down below, it says the premises shall be occupied only by the tenant and the following persons. And you could put children of John and Jane Doe. Term, this is a lease for a term. So not to exceed 12 months and beginning on what month and ending on what month, day, and year. So since we cannot write this for more than 1 year, we're going to start this on August 1st of this year and end it on July 31st of the following year. Now it says rent payments, taxes, and charges. The tenant shall pay total rent in the amount of. So here, this is going to be what is the total amount of the gross rent. So we're going to make believe the rent is $1,000 a month for easy figuring. So we're going to put $12,000 for the lease term. They can pay it in installments or monthly rental, or they can pay it in full if they would like. So we're going to click pay installments. We're going to click monthly. And it's going to be on the first day of each month. In the amount of $1,000 per month. Or if they did a weekly or whatever. Now below it says tenant shall be obligated to pay taxes on the rent when applicable. If this rental were a seasonal rental of 6 months or less, that rent would then include, or you would add on top of that rent, 12% tourist or 12% taxes that would be then paid to part of it goes to the Florida Department of Revenue, and another part goes to the Collier County tourist taxes. So just to put that number there, we're going to do 12,000 and multiply that by 0.12, which is 12%, and that's taxes of $1,440. With each rent installment, and it says with the rent installment for the full term of the lease, landlord will notify tenant if the amount of the tax changes. So we're going to click on, normally they would pay that with the rent for the full term if it's a seasonal rental. But since this is not, it's an annual, we're going to leave that alone. Payment summary: if rent is paid in installments, the total payment per installment, including taxes, shall be. So if it was a seasonal rental, you would add the per month of tax, or if it's a total rental, you're going to put $1,000. If it's paid in full, the total amount, including taxes, shall be again the total amount or plus tax. All rent payments are made payable to, so they can either pay them to the landlord or they can pay them to Waterfront Realty Group, as we act as a escrow agent for the landlord, at our address of 3066 Tamiami Trail North, Suite 202, Naples, Florida 34103. If tenancy starts on a day other than the first of the month or first week is above, the rent shall be prorated to. You would check that box if it's going to start on a different day and through what day and what the amount is. You prorate rent based on the number of days in the month. So we would do 1,000 divided by 30. And if it was 10 days, multiply that by 10, you get the total of $333.33. And you would fill these boxes in accordingly if it were the case. I'm not doing a prorated rent. It's going to happen on the date that of the first. And then you put that the tenant shall make rent payments under the lease by all the different methods here. They can pay by cash, personal check, money order, cashier check, or other. If the tenant makes a rent payment with a worthless check, landlord can require tenant to pay all future payments by money order, cash checks, or official bank check, or cash or other. And down here, and check to pay bad check fees in the amount of $150 per check. Money due prior occupancy. Tenant shall pay the sum of. Most of the time, the landlord charges the tenant first, last security, and any deposits or application fees up front. So in this case, we're going to make the deposit equal to 1 month rent. So we're going to charge the first and last as well. So it's 3 months, $3,000. And they're going to pay that to Waterfront Realty Group, because we will handle the disbursement of the first rental payments at 3066 Tamiami Trail North, Suite 202, Naples 34103. And it asks, what are they paying? We're paying the first month's rent, $1,000. Now, all this money must be due prior to the occupancy of the property. So we want this money no later than 2 weeks prior to the rental starting. So let's put the 20th of July. There's prorated rent, which I don't have. And $8 there. Advance rent, For the month of, we're going to put July 2023, the amount of $1,000. Actually, that's going to be filled in below, so we're not going to worry about that. We're going to put an NA here. My apologies. We're going to put last month's rent. $1,000 is going to go here. It'll be due on 7/20/2022. Security deposit's going to be the same, due on the same day. No additional deposit, so we're going to do NA. No security deposit for homeowners. We'll just make believe there's no HOA here. But if there was an HOA deposit, that needs to get paid to the HOA directly. If they have pets, your owner can charge a pet deposit. Let's just go with $350 just for easy figuring. We're going to put NA due on 7/20/2022. And the rest we're just going to put NA, but that would be saved for other additional fees and other things. Late fees. If the tenant makes a rent payment, then they're going to be charged. We can say $100 if left blank, or 4% of the rent payment for each payment made 5 days after the day it is due. You check this box that unless this box is checked or a pet deposit is paid, tenant may not keep pets or animals. So we're going to check that box and say that they can, and then you'll specify what dogs and breeds, and you put any. And then you can check this box and say smoking is checked, or so it's allowed, or leave it as it is and no smoking is permitted. You can put here Waterfront Realty as landlord's agent, and all notices must be sent to the Waterfront Realty Group. But you want the notice sent to the landlord because we do not take those notices here. The landlord is the one who's supposed to be managing the property from a property management standpoint. Our duty is to provide a tenant. Okay. Next, it's then it goes on to say utilities. Tenant shall pay for all utility services during the lease term and connection charges for activating them, except for whatever that is. You can put that there. The landlord agrees to provide at landlord's expense. If blank, then none. Then it says who is responsible for what during the rental period. Typically, you'll say the landlord is responsible for most major items like the roofs, the doors, foundations, things like that. The tenant is usually responsible for maintenance too. There's AC filter right here. So you would check filters and you do AC and full filters. The tenant can be responsible for the lawn, the shrubbery, garbage removal, and outside receptacles. Some certain smaller things. So you just check who's responsible for what. For maintenance requests, they would notify the landlord to John Smith at 123 Main Street, Naples, Florida 34102. And his telephone number is 239-555-555. And then there's a box for sublease, which we're not allowing. Keys and locks, you put the number of sets of keys in dwelling, the mailbox keys or garage door openers. If there's an HOA, you would indicate how many number of those keys and electronic cards there are and to what they go to. At the end of the lease term, all items specified in this paragraph shall be returned to. They can return it to the landlord or they can return it to Waterfront. So you'll put whomever at that box. I'm going to put NA in these boxes here because we're making believe like there is no HOA. And then return it to Waterfront Realty Group at 3066 and Trail North, Suite 202, Naples 34103. Then it goes on to talk about lead-based paint. If the property was built before 1978, then you need to fill out all the below. If not, then you don't need to worry about it. And then you would have each party sign here. Notice that there's initial pages for each of the tenant and landlord below that as well on every page. Talks about the landlord's access to the premises and at what given time they're allowed to and what the what's needed to be done. Then it talks about the HOA and that any application fee, who it's paid by, whether it's the landlord or tenant, you click the tenant box. Tenant agrees to use due diligence in applying for the HOA. And it says tenant shall pay the security deposit required by the association. Use of premises. There's a box here to check about whether or not the tenant can hang pictures or window treatments. So some people will leave that unchecked because they'll let them personalize the home. Talks about risk and loss of insurance, prohibited acts by the landlord, and some of the other call it standards of the lease itself. There's some miscellaneous topics covered here. 28 talks about the broker's commission. It says, check and complete if applicable. The brokerage company's name will be paid the commission set forth in this paragraph. We're going to say check and landlord. We're going to put real estate licensee. We can put the real estate licensee is Kevin Panzarella. And with Waterfront Realty Group, Inc. And I'm going to be paid $4,000 for this, just because. And again, you have everybody sign below that. And then you put that this form was completed with the assistance of, you can put your name if you filled it out for them. Waterfront Realty Group, Inc. 3066. Miami Trail North, Suite 202. Naples at property 413 and your phone number 9260000. If the tenant terminates the lease early, they can check here to say I agree as provided in the rental agreement to pay an amount that does not exceed 2 months as liquidated damages or an early termination. 2 months being $2,000 in this example. Everybody signs that. And then begins the Florida Residential Landlord and Tenant Act. I'm going to leave this alone. This is best handled by an attorney, but to fill out the lease, that's really where we go. But this runs everything about the landlord's rights and the tenant's rights in the contract. It has notice of terminations, different things like that. My recommendation to everybody is read through this. If you have some questions, I would call the Florida Legal Help Hotline. Yes, we can answer some questions regarding this, but it's best interpreted by an attorney just for the rights of your clients. So be sure to make sure you read through this, you understand it, and any questions you have, call the Florida Legal Hotline as they will help out with you if you need it. Okay, for that, we're going to just kind of cut it there. I appreciate you guys checking this out. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, Kevin at waterfrontrealtygroup.com or 239-263-1000. Thank you.